Meghan's As Ever products are finally out. We finally know what they are. I've got a little list here, and I'll read through some of them and see what you think. We've got some raspberry spread in keepsake packaging. That's $14 US. Herbal lemon ginger tea for $12 US. Flour sprinkles you can get for $15. Okay. Shortbread cookie mix with flour sprinkles included, $14. Are we excited about Meghan's As Ever brand merchandise actually now hitting? Well, we can now actually buy it.
Where's it all made? Is it made in some factory in Minnesota or something?
I've been trying to find out.
Well, this is it. Where's it?
Well, the whole reason for the name change was because she knew she couldn't produce it in Montecito, and that was a legal thing. So clearly, it's definitely not going to be made in the orchards
haven't we seen her in a beekeeping outfit? Don't they make their own honey? Perhaps they could, produce that. I don't know, but I think we'll probably find out at some later date that this is all made in some as I say, some factory associated with a normal supermarket or something. I don't know, It might be
I am trying, Phil.
You are.
Okay,
sure
we have been trying for many weeks, and if anyone knows where the factories are, please tell me.
Well, you are quite jammy in life, so you should be able to find out.
I don't know what world she thinks she's living in right now if she hasn't stepped foot outside the sort of gates of Montecito to understand that I don't know if your average American is going to be dishing out $14 for a pot of jam, or it's not really jam, it's a strawberry preserve, of course. But I think that the whole lineup is really, really out of touch. No one's paying £12 or $12 for some tea. I looked at the royal family. They sell their own strawberry preserve. They sell that for £3. I think that's but it's a little bit more accessible. I think I don't know how this rollout's going to go. I don't know if we're going to see sold out stickers on things because.
I think you will see sold out stickers on them because that would be, if I was marketing something, I would not make many products. So I think you'll get sold out stickers because they haven't made many, and they'll say, "Oh, we sold out." But that's me maybe just being a little bit contrary.
No, I think you're right. I mean, with her original jam rollout, it was one of 50 that she was giving to her friends. I think it is going to be this exclusive type of range, and I'm sure they've kept the numbers small just to make sure that they don't.
Well, maybe I'm just a cynic. But the one thing that does jump out on this, it seems important to me, is that the products have been made in partnership with Netflix Consumer Product Group. So Netflix are really, really involved in Meghan and As Ever, probably far deeper than we realised. Like the actual making of the products, the developing of the products, the creation of the products is not just Meghan sitting there in her kitchen. It appears that Netflix have a division that has been getting stuck in, so to the phrase, into making and working out these products. What do you think that means?
Means they want to get some of their money back, I think. Having invested $100 million or whatever it is in the shows that they did, and the thing about Polo, which was university panned. I don't know how that did commercially, but no, I mean, they've obviously made a decision. They're going to stick with them for the time being. They're going to go for it, and they're going in for a penny, in for a pound. And if they can get some money back with the merchandising, great. But I didn't realise they had this arm of merchandise. But you can understand them. Say if they're going to stick by them, they've got to do it. They've got to go the full hog.
Yeah.
Will Netflix also make, they make kind of products for some of their other shows as well. And they have shops as well, Netflix. But for me, it just shows that Netflix have really bought into Meghan.
Well, I mean, her sheer fakery when she sort of announced the cobbled together collaboration of her and Netflix. We know that that was a last minute decision, and I totally agree with you, Phil. I think that she was definitely they're trying to get some of that 100 million that they've ploughed into this disaster back. They know that, I think with their help, she'll be able to actually get some products out there, because I know that they were also having trouble even with production. So yeah, I think they're going to put these jams and whatever comes after that, tea towels, cloths, into the store and try and recoil some of the funds that they've got back. That's what it's about. It's not this like amazing collaboration that's going to create a dynastical fortune for them. Mm-hmm. It's just them grovelling.
The clothes range, is that Netflix or is that something else? Is that something separate, the clothes she's coming out
with?
The
clothes is just another scramble for money. I mean, those aren't her clothes. She's just making a small commission off the sales of them. So it's just a sort of another ploy at her wanting to become a billionaire. And also saving and solving world hunger at the same time. I don't know how that works, but
Yes, you can do both.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they tell us.
Right, guys, deep breath. We've just got time for our quick fire questions.
Quick fire question.
Okay, ready? Who has been or is the best royal mother?
Well, I think Diana was a superb mother, and that's what makes it so terribly sad, what's happened between William and Harry. I like to think if she was still alive, she would have banged their heads together and sorted it out. But I think at the time she was a very good mother, considering the difficulties in her marriage. She certainly showed them the other side of life, and they didn't grow up, you know, living in an ivory tower when she used to say them to the homeless, etc. So I think she was a good mother. And the late Queen always used to say, funnily enough, that the Duchess of York was a very good mother. And I think the way you've seen Beatrice and Eugenie turn out, I think that's probably true. I mean, I'm not a great fan of the Duchess of York, but I don't think you can take it away from her that she was a good mother.
Two strong contenders, Samara.
I think Princess Anne, I mean, she did a great job of giving her children a normal life somewhat, not giving them titles, not giving them all the embellishments that come with royal life. And I just think that she's one of those people that reminds me so much of the Queen more and more and more as she gets older. And I love that stoicism that she instilled in both of them. She let them actually just have their peace and have a normal sort of existence, sort of.
Excellent. What is the best charity work a royal has achieved?
I've got to say the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip's Duke of Edinburgh Award, only because selfishly I participated in it at school and I just loved it so much. And it was one of those times when you're a ratty teenager and you're sort of like, you know, the world is against me. And it forced me to go out into nature, do camping, do swimming in Australia. And I got my gold Duke of Edinburgh and I was very proud of it. And I think he knew what he was doing there. He knew that it's a boisterous time for teens and it's just good to get back into nature. So very smart of him.
And also the work he did with the World Wildlife Fund. You know, he very much passed on, you know, we go on about King Charles as he now is, and conservation and William with his Earthshot Prize. But Prince Philip was doing all this, you know, decades ago and blazed a trail. Much as I'm not a fan of Harry, I have to say I think in the Invictus Games you can't take that away from him. You won't find anyone, competitors or families or anyone else involved with the Invictus Games ever have a bad word for him. And I think that's the one thing that he can really look at and say that you know, be proud of that achievement. But as I said earlier on, you know, it's a different ball game today. They do tend to concentrate on one or two charities, particularly William and Kate. They're concentrating on a couple of, you know, a few core things. Whereas the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh in the old days used to have, as I say, 1,500 patronages between them, maybe spread themselves a bit too thin sometimes. But yeah, so it's, you know, I think the Invictus Games is one thing he can be proud of.
It's a really good point. I mean, that the Invictus Games situation also makes it even more sad, as you pointed out earlier about Centre Barley, that there are actually children in Lesotho that needed this money and needed this charity rather than the bickering.
And funding's now completely depleted, by the way, in the last couple of days from that. So he probably should have thought about that before he decided to drag that charity through the mud. But yeah.
Right, final question. Meghan's As Ever jam and crepe mix products are out this week, but what royal would you want to make you breakfast?
Ooh, I've got to say Princess Margaret, because she famously had her breakfast in bed, 9 o'clock, that's how I want it, 9 a.m, with the papers, listening to the radio, and then followed by a shot of vodka. So that's probably what I would do, I will want for myself.
Well, in an ideal world, I'd have breakfast with Morgan and Wise. But if it's got to be a royal, I think it's the King. Wasn't there? I think it was a book by Jeremy Paxman, wasn't it, where he claimed that he had 6 boiled eggs lined up, all different runniness, and depending on what mood he's in, he'd chop off the top of one of those. So, I mean, that would be a fascinating. I think it was later debunked, but I mean, I'd love to be at breakfast with the King because he is a bit fussy and. He likes all of his sort of organic food. And,
barely eats though, that's the problem.
He likes all the muesli and stuff like that, doesn't he? To the point where I think they have it all laid out at Sandringham, and there was a guest once, and William saw somebody going, don't go over there, that's the bird table.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so I think breakfast with the King would be fascinating.
Yeah, no, both good answers. Thank you very much.